We are talking to Sisonke Msimang, author of Always Another Country. Sisonke, such an intensely personal story you tell of growing up in exile, then going abroad to study, coming back home, becoming a wife, becoming a mother, an activist, and yet in many ways the story of a lot of South Africans.
Yeah, I feel like the wife title doesn't really like, I know technically it's true.
But still
But
growing
yeah,
into it.
Still growing into that, poor man.
Yeah. Tell us why you decided to write this book.
So the short answer is I wrote it because it was the easiest way to write a book because I knew the subject very well. As someone who writes for the public and has been doing that for a while, I always felt the sense of like, I'm a writer but not an author. Like, I need to have, you know, something that establishes your credentials. And so it was important to me that I write a book. But on a more significant level, I wanted to write a book about post-apartheid South Africa and the experience of kind of navigating your way through that, because it felt like we were at this moment in our political history where it was important to look backwards in order to think about the future. And so this felt like the most personal way to do that.
Right. And then how do you feel what you found when you look back? How did your life before the dawn of democracy influence your life in post-democracy South Africa?
So in some ways, like, my life is just an excuse to actually talk about a whole set of bigger issues. And so one of the things I was very conscious of is that I wanted to write a series of stories about this kid who grew up in post-independence Africa and who was just completely beloved, as many of us were, by this community of people who just thought the world of us because we were going to be the first generation of kids born free, you know, having been born outside South Africa. And our very existence was like this testament to the human spirit. So in some ways I wanted to be very nostalgic and to create this story that wasn't about doing anything great. We weren't activists, we weren't heroes, we weren't, you know, and South Africa is so full of these big characters, these big men, these people who changed the course of history. And in some ways I wanted to say, like, as Africans we can write stories that aren't about big men. They're just about like little girls. So that was part of the impetus for the story. But of course, as I continued to write, I also wanted to talk about how complex and difficult it is to navigate the world as a woman, as a girl, as a person trying to be kind of as honest as you can be with the rest of the world and with yourself. So that's what it becomes, this journey to find out what South Africa is going to be like, this amazing opportunity that many exiles don't have. When you think about Syria, when you think about all these crises around the world, that people are not sure that they're going to go back home.
Right.
So to be able to go back home and then to live the dream was pretty special. And so I also wanted to talk about what that meant. The dream comes true, but of course, once you confront that reality, it's like, how do you live in this place?
Yeah. And then the book also touches on various themes, specifically the theme of racism, race relations, also the theme of gender violence. Are there certain lessons that you hope people can draw from the book?
So I try to conclude things for myself. That's kind of the kind of person I am. So if something happens, I need a framework. I need an analysis of what's happening underneath to explain it to myself. But I also try not to conclude on behalf of others. And so because there are some commonalities about experiences of sexual violence and experiences of racism, the way that it makes you feel is often common across people. I hope that people see their own experiences mirrored in mine, but I'm very conscious that there are also so many things that are very different about those experiences. And so I'm always wary about lessons. I'm always wary about role modeling. I'm always conscious that your life is your life and the decisions that you make are valid for you. But I hope to try to kind of hold up a mirror to say, well, this is kind of how I've thought about it.